What's good? It's Woog. Sorry it's been a minute. Been doing a bunch of BI for work. That's short for business intelligence, basically computer programming, designing databases and automating data flow, with some scripting in an old but still very prominent computer language called SQL, spelled SQL. But let's get into some music. Tame Impala, Kevin Parker's phenomenal psych, indie rock, indie pop, and now funk brainchild, dropped the official studio version of Borderline, the newest song that they just performed live on SNL. By the way, we need to start clearly defining indie, if there even is still such a thing. And there are a bunch of non-white artists who also make similar music but don't get tagged indie. Not that the name indie yields more opportunity, but it does in a way open them up to a different platform and audience. And there is a lot of cross-pollination when you have things like music festivals where it opens one fan up to something totally different genre-wise. Few black artists are credited indie, like Dev Hynes, aka Blood Orange, who's like an indie soul pop. Even Solange Knowles, Beyonce's sister, gets a ton of exposure to the indie crowd. And these artists, like their white counterparts, are all music genre hybrids in some way, a fusion, any combination of pop, rock, or several other genres. So to call Tame Impala indie doesn't really explain a lot. Perhaps one indie aspect of them would be that they did experience a very incremental album-by-album ascension on the music scene, growing in popularity and in reputation with each release. That's pretty indie, right? Going from small local crowd to larger, then larger, and now headlining a damn Coachella night. They'd worked their way up those kinds of festival bills. So is it then indie until it blows up? With their third album, Currents, which is their latest and biggest, but not their greatest album critically, they took a turn from psychedelic rock and pop to a more psych-funk, soulful, disco, and poppier sound. This gave them their biggest song to date, The Less I Know The Better, that super groovy funk disco pop jam. You've probably heard it before. Then came a 4-year hiatus in which Kevin Parker produced and played on a lot of other artists' music, from Mark Ronson to Lady Gaga to Tame Impala's former bassist Nick Albrook's band Pond, a band that Parker himself used to be a part of. They go back. Kevin Parker's name and rep have grown to where he's become one of the most sought after musical geniuses and producers in the game. He and Tame Impala are not yet household names, but they're getting close. And Tame Impala finally dropped a new song, Patience, which got mixed reactions. To me, it sounded like it could have been an album recorded with Currents that didn't make the album. A less enchanting and magical, The Less I Know The Better. It was well produced, but it just wasn't a great song. They played that and premiered a brand new song, Borderline, on SNL. So we then had Patience and a live version of Borderline. Now, while I liked Borderline more than Patience, I still wasn't thrilled about it because it further suggested that they were doubling down in this groovier, funkier pop lane and were moving further away from their Psych-Rock roots, which brought us some beautiful music, including their debut Inner Speaker, which is a die-hard fan's favorite, and Lonerism, one of the greatest indie albums of the past decade, and definitely one of my top 10s. If you want to get the full Tame Impala experience, please listen to Lonerism. But while I wasn't too excited about even this second song, Borderline, after hearing it live on SNL, I held that I couldn't really determine the quality or texture of the song until we hear the official studio recording of the track. We only heard them play it live on SNL. It was groovy and catchy, but if Kevin Parker is one thing for damn sure, it's a studio wizard. So I knew that the official version would offer a lot that we're not fully getting in the live version. Just to further build on the Kevin Parker studio wizardry, he has a section of his Wikipedia just listing his guitar effect pedals. Tame Impala's music is all about the texture and in the sounds within the sounds. So almost 2 weeks after the SNL appearance, they released the official version to Borderline, and I like it a lot. It does remind me a lot of Jamiroquai, the 90s jazzy, funky, soulful disco artist from the UK. Virtual Insanity is their biggest song and video. You can look that up. I heard a lot of Jamiroquai in Tame Impala's Borderline, and the melody in that vocal line that Kevin Parker keeps on repeating is just so damn catchy. It's still not the Psych-Rock that I was wishing they go back to, but it is damn good. And as groovy, dancey, and poppy as it is, it's still music best heard on headphones. The production is fantastic. I am still bummed, however, that Tame Impala is continuing down this poppier path, which will continue to grow their audience. Maybe it's just the underground head in me, but I prefer their nuanced rock and pop music over the stuff that sounds like it's built for radio. I don't come to the Tame Impala party for the radio-friendly jams. Although Elephant, The Less I Know The Better, and It Feels Like We're Always Going Backwards are all pretty dope. and very different from one another. If you look at just those 3 songs, 3 great Tame Impala songs, they're all super good and they don't sound anything alike. Like, you could hardly tell that it's the same band doing all 3. I still hold out a little hope that their album will be more varied and might still harken back to something, at least in the ballpark of Elephant, Mind Mischief, It Always Feels Like We're Going Backwards, or even the epic Apocalypse Dream, all from the Lonerism album. Or even as far back as It's Not Meant to Be or Solitude is Bliss from Inner Speaker. But it is getting harder to justify Holding My Breath. Those days might be long gone. But Lonerism wasn't any one thing. It was also varied. So maybe they're leading with these 2 poppiest songs and will essentially bury the more interesting stuff throughout the album. I don't know, but my excitement is a little tepid right now. But let me know what you think about Borderline. And to Tame Impala fans, when did you become a fan? And what is your favorite musical style of theirs? What is your favorite album? And what are your 3 or 2 or 1 favorite Tame Impala songs? I'm Woog. Thanks for tuning in.